Tonight on To The Point, more fallout from California's minimum wage hike. A restaurant chain closing dozens of locations.
The sheer number of restaurants that they're closing is pretty extraordinary.
Why experts say this is a sign of things to come.
First stretch of 100s for the year about to begin, tracking multiple impacts from heat risk to fire danger.
Plus Hunter Biden on trial, the felony charges he's facing, and how soon opening statements are expected to begin. And later, how a local van company turned an idea in their garage to a full production line. Thank you for joining us tonight on To The Point. We do start with breaking news. Fire crews are battling a wildfire that sparked in Alameda County. The so-called Patterson fire is burning near Patterson Road and North Midway Road. At last update, officials say it had burned about 15 acres, and it's burning near the area where the Corral fire has been burning all weekend. Now, ABC 10's Luke Cleary just arrived on scene and has more on what's developing there tonight. Luke, what do you got for us?
I'm here in rural San Joaquin County, just outside of Tracy, near Livermore, and we are watching the Patterson fire here, burning in this grass. And as you can see, it's making its way this direction, actually burning against the wind. The firefighters call this a backburn, and that is why, if you look just over here, you can see the CAL FIRE crew that is just sort of monitoring the fire as it progresses. They're not putting a direct attack on it right now, but they have to keep their eyes on this one because, as you can see just over across this burning field here, that is a PG&E electrical facility over there. And if you want an idea of just how close this is actually burning to this weekend's fire, the Corral fire, which burned over 14,000 acres, take a look over there into the distance and you see those grassy fields and the blackened section of grass just over there on the other side of that hill. It's probably a mile, 2 miles from here. As of right now, CAL FIRE investigators aren't saying whether or not this fire is related to the Corral fire or whether it had another ignition point. That is still under investigation. But again, fire crews here monitoring this very closely as the fire makes its way up against the wind. They've got that working in their favor, as well as this road, which sort of serves as a natural fire break. They're just trying to maintain the fire on this side of the road and hoping that it won't jump over to, again, see all of that dry grass and running room that it could have. The wind, though, is blowing this direction, so we have that working in our favor as we continue to monitor the Patterson fire here in rural San Joaquin County. Luke Clary, ABC 10.
All right, Luke, thank you so much. And we can see those windy conditions right there. And we do have an update on the Corral fire that he was just talking about. CAL FIRE says the Corral fire in San Joaquin County near Tracy is now 75% contained. It has burned more than 14,000 acres, as Luke just mentioned. The fire started Saturday afternoon near the Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory site along Corral Hollow Road. It burned south and west of Interstate 580. Evacuation orders have been downgraded to warnings, but residents in the area are advised to remain vigilant and prepared for potential changes. And I want to get right over to Chief Meteorologist Monica Woods because we are expecting some record-breaking heat over the next couple of days.
Right, and we're going to see a wind shift as well. Right now, it's coming in from the Pacific. That's delivering slightly higher humidity, as you could see with Luke there. The wind pretty fierce at this hour, especially around that Tracy Triangle. But with that higher humidity, it does keep the fire danger just a little bit lower, but never easy for firefighters to have to deal with those winds. Excessive heat warning going into place tomorrow morning. That takes us all the way through Thursday evening. Heat illnesses, outdoor activities, and the fire danger, all impacts we'll be tracking. We haven't had heat like this yet this year. The warmest was late last week. We had some temperatures in the mid to upper 90s, and then we dropped into the 80s. And it's a quick transition, kind of startling to the body when we go through 80s right into the 100s. Today we have the cloud cover courtesy of a weather system that was pretty impressive, dropping a lot of rain in the Pacific Northwest. As that departs, the high pressure builds in, and so does the heat. Right now we're in the 70s, so if you need to get some outdoor activities done, I'd say right now is your best bet.
All right. Thank you, Monica. And Monica, we'll have your full forecast coming up after the break. All right. So our next story is California's new $20 minimum wage for fast food workers causing restaurants to close. It's been more than 2 months since the increase went into effect for large fast food chains. And one just announced that it is closing 4 dozen of its locations throughout the state. ABC 10's Becca Habegger takes a look.
Stacked chairs, empty tables, and a sign, "This location has closed," greets anyone approaching Rubio's Coastal Grill in El Dorado Hills. This Carlsbad-based restaurant chain announced late last week it's closing 48 of its more than 100 California locations. 86 locations will remain open across Nevada, Arizona, and California.
What we're seeing right now is, I think, unfortunately, the beginning of a trend, in restaurant closures.
Jat Kandi is president and CEO of the California Restaurant Association. He says a newly effective California law is impacting businesses, workers, and consumers alike. AB 1228 raised the minimum wage for workers at large fast food chains in California from $16 an hour to $20. That went into effect April 1st.
When you have a cost spike overnight, $4 per employee per hour, that's pretty difficult when you're talking about an industry that's, 3 to 5% profit margin on average.
Those who advocated for the wage increase say it helps California's fast food workers make ends meet in this expensive state.
The majority of minimum wage workers are not teenagers. They're people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, even some seniors. And a lot of these people have children.
We must ensure that our fast food workers are able to thrive in their workplace and in their communities.
I reached out to Rubio's to ask whether the $20 minimum wage played into their decision to close 48 California locations. A spokesperson didn't answer that directly, but did say in a statement the closings were brought about by the rising cost of doing business in California after a thorough review of Rubio's operations and the current business climate.
The sheer number of restaurants that they're closing is pretty extraordinary.
He says many restaurant owners are now choosing between raising prices for customers, cutting worker hours, or some combination of the two.
Because if you don't, you're not profitable and you can't stay in business.
All right, bringing in Becca Hotbecker, who has been following this for us. Becca, can you bring some more context? Because this could not be the end of it. We could see another increase in minimum wages, right?
Right. That $20 minimum wage only applies to fast food restaurants with at least 60 locations nationwide. Otherwise, California's minimum wage is currently $16, Alex. But in a ballot initiative this fall, voters will decide whether to raise the state's minimum wage to $18 per hour by 2025 for companies with more than 25 employees and by 2026 for those smaller companies.
And I do want to go back to Rubio's for just a second. We should mention for context, the company filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy back in 2020, citing pandemic impacts, and the LA Times has reported that it previously shut down locations in Florida and Colorado. Becca, thank you so much. All right, another news tonight. A man is dead after being assaulted in downtown Sacramento this morning. Officers say they found the man just after 4 a.m. on 5th and I Streets near the county main jail. They say the man had serious injuries and died at the scene. It's still unclear what led up to the assault, but a person of interest was detained. We just don't have any word yet on some possible charges. Former Major League Baseball player Daniel Serafini was arraigned in a Placer County court this morning. Serafini is accused of killing his father-in-law and attempting to murder his mother-in-law. Previously, a judge determined there is enough evidence for him to stand trial on murder charges. They will be back in court on September 16th. He also faces burglary charges related to a break-in at their Lake Tahoe home in 2021. He has pleaded not guilty. Next, on To the Point, as wildfire season is underway, a look at the tools PG&E is using to mitigate the risks. And later, a local van company booming with growth, how they turned an idea that started just in their garage into a whole production line. We'll have that story after the break. Wildfire season is here, and today PG&E gave some insights to the tools and programs that they're using to mitigate wildfire risk this season. So at a press conference today, they explained how cameras, AI technology, drones, and burn bots are being used to monitor weather, winds, and fires to assign response levels.
If they spot anything that looks like a smoke tendril or in the night a heat shimmer, they'll zoom in, and with the advanced AI capability, now other cameras will all zoom in to determine if that is a fire that needs to be signaled to the fire suppression agencies.
They also launched a new wildfire safety progress map today. They say it will help show local wildfire prevention work and let customers know if they are eligible for assistance programs. And I want to get over to Chief Meteorologist Monica Woods right away because we have some serious heat moving in this week that could be potentially dangerous for a lot of people.
Yeah, we haven't had this kind of heat since late August. Last year, the warmest that we've been has been in the 90s this year so far. So this is our first stretch of 100s. Excessive heat warning in place starting tomorrow morning, taking us through Thursday evening with heat illnesses, outdoor activities, and fire danger. All the impacts we'll be tracking. As far as the Bay Area, still dealing with the heat as well, with that heat advisory in place through very early on Friday morning. And you can see the rundown here. The peak heat hitting on Wednesday, Thursday, still dealing with the elevated fire danger and last day of excessive heat. But even when we start cooling on Friday, we're still above average. Record highs on Wednesday are going to be pretty close to our forecast highs. And this is the time of year when we start talking about being in that record territory. It's especially dangerous. Fire potential stays elevated Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, especially as that fuel starts to dry under this ridge of high pressure is just going to be sinking and warming air, taking over nearly the entire West Coast, stretching through the desert Southwest as well. So our heat risk really starts to become elevated with a major category developing on Tuesday that continues on Wednesday and expands on Thursday into the foothills, starting to moderate a little bit by the weekend. But again, it is going to still be above average. Highs for tomorrow in the 80s for the Sierra, 80s, 90s, and near 100 for the foothills. We're close to 80 along the coast, and then it's widespread 100s as we make our way through the valley. Tomorrow morning is still on the cooler side. It's going to be Wednesday morning that's particularly tough. Slight chance of thunderstorms Thursday and Friday in the Sierra and the hills. Overnight lows only dropping into the mid to upper 70s Wednesday night through Thursday morning. A little bit cooler for the coast by the time we get to Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And we'll see that in the valley as well. But again, it is still going to be above average even into the weekend.
All right, thanks, Monica. Next, on to the point, a jury has been selected in Hunter Biden's gun trial, the charges he's facing, and when opening statements could begin. Plus, the next time you go to the DMV, your service might be a little bit faster. The changes you can take advantage of starting today. Welcome back. Jury selection began today in Hunter Biden's felony firearm trial. More than 200 potential jurors were questioned. Hunter Biden is accused of lying about his history of drug use when buying a gun back in 2018. He has pleaded not guilty, and here's more on what happened in court. The jury is seated in the trial of Hunter Biden. The 12-person jury composed of 6 males and 6 females, as well as 4 female alternates. The jury includes a woman who worked for the Secret Service for nearly 25 years, and a man who says he learned about the case over the weekend at a graduation party. Hunter Biden arriving at the federal courthouse in Wilmington, Delaware this morning. The First Lady, Jill Biden, walking in minutes later, then sitting in the front row as potential jurors face questions, including their knowledge of the case, any personal struggles with addiction, and their thoughts on gun ownership. One juror excused after telling the judge gun ownership is a God-given right. Another dismissed after saying it seems like politics is playing a big role in who gets charged with what and when.
I think for the defense, I want to see, are they looking for an empathetic juror? I also looking to the government in terms of their prosecution and saying, hey, if you just follow the documents and you follow what he says, are you going to convict?
Hunter Biden spending the weekend in Delaware with his father. The president not in court, issuing a statement saying in part, as the president, I don't and won't comment on pending federal cases, but as a dad, I have boundless love for my son, confidence in him, and respect for his strength. Hunter Biden faces 3 felony charges related to buying this gun in 2018. Prosecutors say he was abusing drugs and accuse him of checking a box on an ATF form stating he was not actively using illegal narcotics. Hunter Biden has pleaded not guilty and has been public about his struggles with addiction.
I've made mistakes in my life and wasted opportunities and privileges I was afforded. For that, I'm responsible.
Opening statements are expected to begin tomorrow, and the trial is expected to last about 2 to 3 weeks. All right, let's get into your price points tonight. Shorter lines and fast service could be coming to a DMV near you. California DMV says that it's making it easier for you to access car registration, renewals, and other services by including more online options. More than 90% of transactions are now available on the DMV website. The DMV says it's working to reduce office visits by up to 200,000 customers a month. And a new program is allowing some California families with children to have extra money for food this summer. Sunbucks, or Summer EBT, offers $120 for food from June through August. And this is to really help families in California buy groceries during the summer months when school is out. The funds will come preloaded on a card, which will ship out depending on your last name. The funds will expire if they are not used within 122 days of receiving the card. And you can read more about this program on our website, abc10.com, right now. All right, during the pandemic, many people were looking for a way to get outside. You may remember back in March of 2023 when we told you about Scenic Vans, who builds vans that you can rent for travel. And photojournalist Vanessa Bizzuto shows us how an idea that got started in their garage turned into a full-blown production line.
The scale of what we're doing, I never in a million years thought we would do. I mean, I thought it was a good idea.
We started in Kevin's shed, and we started renting a lot of vans.
So this is where it all started?
We first heard about this as a dream of theirs, a concept, and we had no idea how it would take shape.
We had all of the cars parked behind here.
The very first rental was on March 3rd, 2022.
Our fleet got significantly larger, and we had to move to a new facility.
First year, I remember when we did $10,000 in sales in a month, and we were like, we made $10,000 in a month? This is like the coolest thing ever.
That's insane. A year into that, we found that we needed more space. We had to rent a second facility in the same business complex. We ran out of space again, and here we are in a facility that's maybe 4 times as big.
The point of the design center is to be able to kind of wheel in the different furniture for our floor plans. Our customers have to take a look at all of our furniture and how it's going to lay out in the van.
This is our build shop. We can comfortably build about 8 vans at a time. Parts are actually organized. Everything labeled makes it really easy for our builders to get the job done at a high quality and quickly.
This is where we build all of our custom woodworking for all the vans. More space here just creates more drive to get things done. We're not crawling all over each other. We have a state-of-the-art paint booth where we get all of the sidewalls and ceiling panels painted. At the last shop, we were only able to fit 3 vans, and now we're up to, I think, 7 vans here.
When you guys last interviewed us, we had 1 full-time cleaner, we had a director of guest services, and we had two part-time builders, 1 full-time builder, and Elon and I. Now we have 21 employees. It is cool to see people succeed when they didn't necessarily have opportunity before.
Every year someone works here, they get their own customized Funko Pop.
One of the things I try to implore with our employees is, if you find a problem, that's good. But if you fix a problem, that's great. I like solutions.
We've always wanted to have our own van. We just weren't quite sure what we wanted, how to get there. Because we really didn't know anything about vans at all. From the road, we would call Kevin and he'd get back to us right away and solve the problem.
We wanted to be able to pick up and go whenever we darn felt like it. It's a mental freedom as well as just a physical kind of freedom.
Scenic Vans allows people to try van life without having the barriers of entry that we did when we bought a van, sold our belongings.
It really hit us how successful they become and that their hard work is paying off, and we see their hard work.
The two of them together are such a powerhouse that it just keeps growing and growing and growing.
If we're not doing the best, like, what are we doing? So we're always improving our vans. I feel pretty proud of what we've been able to achieve.
Seeing something that's as small as an idea to something that's as big as this, it's just insanely cool. Sometimes I'm struck by that, and I'll just be in the shop and I'll be like, wow, look at what I've built. We made this. I feel like I know a lot about this and I can do a lot of really good things for people.
And Scenic Vans shared with us that all of you at home are a part of their growth. They thank you for your support over the past year, and they are currently booking vans for summer and have an expanded fleet. And you can check them out at their showcase on June 29th. And we'll have more information on our abc10.com/links page if you want to check it out. And we'll be right back after this short break with what we're working on for tomorrow. All right, if you have been down Broadway here in Sacramento, you know that it has been going through some changes. Many businesses have even shut down in the area, but there are a few that have stayed through it all, like Sampino's Kitchen at Joe Marty's. Tomorrow at 6:30 on To The Point, we introduce you to the Sampino family. Their name has been synonymous with good food and serving up Italian classics in Sacramento for decades. We'll show you how the family got their start, what makes their restaurant historic, and why they chose to stay on Broadway. It's a story you do not want to miss. Thank you so much for spending part of your day with us. If you have something you think we should be looking into, reach out to me and the team. And remember, strangers are people we just haven't gotten the chance to meet yet. So take the time to get to know someone. Have a great night. I will see you tomorrow. Hey, it's Alex. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. The To The Point team and I love hearing from you, and I hope that you'll stay in touch. And don't forget, you can always email me and the team at tothepoint@abc10.com, or you can even send us a text message at 916-321-3310.